inherent problems with seeing a kid get out of a Lamborghini is that you don't feel that they earned it based off of putting in the time and the effort and the energy. Because you think, oh, he's 22, he's driving a Lamborghini, he must have gotten that through some ill-gotten means, like he has his daddy's money, or he's, duping and scamming people, and that's how he afforded it. Because I think everybody has this internal societally programmed expectation that time equals money. Right? And so, oh, you're only 22, there's no possible way you could have put in the time necessary to have earned this, so therefore you did not earn this. You have this, but you did not earn this. And so when you see somebody in their 40s or their 50s getting out of a Lamborghini, it hits a little bit different, probably, because you're like, well, he's earned that. Probably he's at that right stage in his life where he's probably put in the time and the energy, and now he's earned that thing. Whether or not you agree and want that vehicle or that whatever the flashy thing is, that's a different conversation. But you probably look at those two people and you react very differently. And then the flip of that is when you see the 72-year-old guy getting out of the Lamborghini, you're kind of like, aren't you past that? Right? So there's like this time of the seasons that seems to make sense. You see a guy, it could be a gal, right? It could be, if they're in their 40s, 50s, they're having their midlife crisis, they have their nice car, you figure they kind of earned it, whatever. It makes more sense. But I don't judge people so much for the owning of the nice things. I question more why they want it. The problem I inherently have with high-end luxury items like a Lamborghini or a Rolex is that they're status symbols designed to signal status. And in my mind, if you have to signal your status, it's the most anti-status thing you could possibly do, right? If you were truly high status, you don't need to signal it, right? Now, a lot of people do really enjoy having nice things, right? Their luxury premium items are nice. And that's really the difference between a premium item and a luxury item, right? Like the premium item is like a BMW, it's a Mercedes. It's something that's made really well, great craftsmanship, great engineering. It's premium. Luxury is the extra price tag that comes associated with the status that you get of the thing. Right? So inherently, the luxury item is expensive because they cap how much they produce of it, so that there is this more externally derived demand and status associated with it. That's why it's hard to get a Ferrari. If everybody that could afford a Ferrari could have a Ferrari, they'd be way less prestigious, right? And so luxury is different than premium in that they're probably not too dissimilar in terms of the quality. Like the Coach purse is probably not that much different than whatever the one level below the Coach purse. I don't know why I went into purses. Like I would know what the next purse was, but like it's not so. And maybe Coach isn't even like premium, or maybe that's the premium, and maybe like Hermes is like the luxury. I don't know, but like the difference in the price tag is the presumed prestige that comes from owning the thing, and whenever people are buying into that category of stuff, my initial question is just, well, why? Right? But if it makes you happy, then do it. Like, who cares? You do you. If you don't care and you want to drive a Prius like I do, then cool, drive a Prius like I do. Like, spend your time and money on the things that bring you joy. At the end of the day, just understand why it brings you joy. If it brings you joy because it, in your mind, signals that you're better than others, that it makes you worthy, well, you got some deep work that you should do, because there's going to come a time in your life where the vehicle is no longer going to do that, and you're still going to have the whole, right? And this is the whole idea of, the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment, where these are fundamentally different mediums. And I struggled with this for a long time. I felt I had this hole inside of me, and I tried to fill that hole by achieving things, right? Win this competition, then fill this hole. But the thing is, like, achievement and fulfillment, it's like an asphalt road with a pothole. That's the fulfillment road, right? And that you have a hole. Now you need to fill that hole. And then you try to take like spaghetti noodles and you put it in the bowl, and like that's achievement. You're like, I got some spaghetti noodles. It's like, okay, the bowl's full, the hole is now filled, but it's not really, right? And you're still not whole. And you just have to recognize that there is no external thing that you will ever be able to plug into that hole. It can only be grown from within. And so a lot of times when I see the 22-year-old with the Lamborghini, it's like, cool, you're young, you have to figure this out. You have to experiment by putting different things in that hole before you realize there is nothing you can put in that hole that will fill it, right? And my goal for people is to get to that point as quickly as possible, that they realize, okay, I can't fill this with external accolades, with the admiration of others and their opinions of me. I can't fill this with a Rolex. It has to come from within. And whatever that thing is that I'm missing here, I need to do the dark work of whatever that is. So that's the big issue that I have with status symbols, is that typically people use them to avoid doing the actual work that needs to be done. Now, reversing, like, let's bring this full circle to the very beginning of this conversation, which is when we look at a 22-year-old with a Lamborghini, we jump to this conclusion that they did something unsavory. They didn't earn the thing. Now, here's the thing that I've really had to struggle with, is that when you see somebody getting out of that thing that you, for whatever reason, like for a long time, I thought people that drove those cars, I was like, that's douchey, it's stupid, like whatever, right? That's a me judgment onto them. That's an insecurity that I have because I'm casting some judgment about what that thing represents and who they are. I go, that person must be a douche. I don't know that person. They might be a very lovely person. They might be wonderful, right? I don't know, but I've cast that judgment onto them because of my own shit. And for a lot of us, we never stop to question that. We never question those judgments that we place on other people, and how those judgments are actually just a reflection of our own insecurity, right? The insecurity for myself, and I've talked about this in other episodes about like the idea of drive your Jaguar, right? That idea was, well, I'm not going to go into the details. I did another podcast on this. Go watch that podcast where I talk about the idea of, drive your Jaguar. But I had this deep insecurity about people judging me because I did want this thing, and I was afraid what people would think of me. And I was like, well, why am I afraid of what people would think of me? And it was because I internally was judging them for those things, and therefore I would be judging myself. It wasn't because I don't actually care what other people think about me, but I still felt very uncomfortable about the idea of going and getting that nice thing. And it was simply because I was afraid of my own judgment that I had cast on other people being cast back at me. And it's like, damn, if I could just not judge others, then maybe, just maybe, I would stop judging me. It's a wild concept. It took me like 40 years to get here, but I'm sharing this. So maybe it hits somebody else at a different point in their life and they go, oh, that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, yeah, one way or the other, let your freak flag fly. And you can only do that by knowing what your freak flag is and knowing why you fly it. So hopefully this brings somebody some value. I don't know if it will. This is kind of just the ramblings of a madman.